So ever since I was, 6 years old, my dad started riding in the PMC. It was always something that I wanted to be a part of. I always wanted to be like with my dad. And now that I'm older, now that I have the support network and the friends and family that I can actually raise the money myself, it means like that much more to me. So the ride started in 1980 when the founder, Billy Starr, and a couple of his buddies decided to ride from Sturbridge to Provincetown over the course of 2 days to raise money for cancer after his mom passed away. He had no idea that it would start this tradition, which is now carried on for 34 years, and over the course of its tenure has raised $375 million for Dana-Farber. So when me and my dad were discussing the possibility of me riding, one of the biggest factors was the idea of a 19-year-old kid like myself raising $4,300. The point I brought up, which he seemed to like, and that I've kind of told people when I've been fundraising, is that if I can get 400 people to raise, or to give me $10 and to sponsor me for $10 only, I've covered most of my ground in terms of fundraising. The morning of the race, we woke up, and obviously the start was at Babson, but because my dad, thought 163 miles wasn't enough, we decided to ride to Babson, which was another 16 miles. It was only the second time I'd ridden with my dad in my life, and we were riding to start the PMC together. And as we got closer, as we started to see signs for the PMC, as we got to Babson, there were 2,000 people starting from Babson, and every single one of them had the same mindset of just doing their part. They were all little cogs in this just huge PMC machine that was gonna ride for the next 2 days for a cause. And I felt so just blessed and honored to be just one of those people on that morning. Once we started to get riding, it just started to sink in more. I was surrounded by people on all sides of me. People had come down to the edge of their driveways, had put PMC signs, balloons, cowbells, clappers, just everything you can imagine. And then you get to the water stops, which are about every 20 miles, and there's again just a sea of volunteers, a sea of riders, just scarfing down PB&Js and oranges and Gatorade. I'd say on day one, the most challenging part probably came towards the end when we reached the middle of onset. I just started to feel this rain. It was just awful, and I was tired. We'd gone at that point about 95 miles, and I just remember looking at my dad's in front of me, and he's dropped down a couple gears. And I just remember getting up out of the saddle and just really shooting that hill and just attacking it. As I was going by him, I said, let's go, Dad." And he got up out of his saddle, which is pretty rare for him. But then we went up those hills at 17, 18 miles an hour, which was above our average speed for the day. That was definitely the coolest part of probably the weekend. Just overcoming that hump was really awesome. And then on the second day, I'd say it was also towards the end. We finally got into the last part, which is also hilly, and I was dead at this point. It's the end of 2 days, and I was ready to be done. I just remember looking down and just putting my head down. I saw that we were going at a pretty good clip, and I look up about 10 seconds later, and he is 40 yards ahead of me. He has put his head down. He's gotten out of his saddle. It was really cool to just look up and see him just killing it going up that hill, and really made me want to catch up to him more than anything else. So pulling into the finish line, it was lined with families, and we kind of finish, and I look over, and we give each other a hug, and then looking over and seeing my mom there, and the rest of my family and my friends were there to support me. So that was a great feeling, just to be at the finish on the other side of the rope for the first time in 12 years. So everyone knows someone who's been affected by cancer, and that's kind of the evil of it. It's such a universal thing. That's why I ride. That's why I want to keep riding, and that's why I believe in the cause. $38 million can be traced back to 5,500 riders who raised $4,300, and that $4,300 can be traced back to sponsors and to people like you who donate to the ride. That $5 at $10. So without people who visit PMC.org, without people who view this video and take the time and contribute to the cause, there's no PMC, there's no cure. So I want to take the time to thank you in advance for your investment and your time of viewing this video and visiting PMC.org, and because without your support, no matter how big or small it is, that's what fuels the PMC, that's what fuels the fight against cancer. So from the bottom of not just my heart as a rider, but everyone who fights cancer, thank you for all of your time and support.